America. I'm back. I'm back and ready for action. So, what we got going on now? We got Mr. Judge Kavanaugh. Mr. Judge Kavanaugh. Awesome. More than qualified for the Supreme Court Justice. Then you got the crazy Democrats. They're actually paying for protesters. I don't know if the Democrats themselves. There's been some sources, different activist, leftist, liberal, Demorat affiliated people paying protesters to protest during the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings. Acting a fool, being arrested, being drug out by the hands and feet like a bunch of little kids. This is what it's come to. This is what it's come to now. Crying like a little bunch of babies because they can't give up the power. They just want that power hungry little Demorats and liberals. You know, this is not how the Constitution and how the forefathers have set it up. The only people that have been causing a ruckus out there is the leftists, and liberals. Now, I'm not talking about your classic liberals. Classic liberals are probably pretty awesome, but they gotten too far to the left, and they still call themselves liberals. And I couldn't. If I was a liberal, I couldn't call myself a liberal. Sorry, I couldn't, because they have gone off the rocker. So they're causing protests. The Kavanaugh hearing, everything was ready to go. Then on the 11th hour, Dianne Feinstein pushes out some letter that came from supposedly a girl from Kavanaugh's high school. She was 15. Kavanaugh was, this lady's name is Christine Blasey Ford. So she pushes out this letter and leaks it to the media, saying that Kavanaugh had somehow went into the room at this party they had, and got on top of her and put his hand over her mouth, and continued to try to take off her one-piece bathing suit, I think it was. Now, looking at Kavanaugh and his background, this guy is impeccable. He's clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle. Nothing, no other accusations, nothing like that. Okay, so this can just come out, kind of, like I said, they're going crazy and doing all kinds of crazy protests during the hearing, which is ridiculous. And the Democrats before that are doing some crazy stuff, interrupting the guy, making his leading, introducing the whole thing, basically. And they were interrupting him. The 3 or 4 Democrats just crazy. They didn't even raise their hand. They just, excuse me, Judge Kavanaugh, excuse me. 3 or 4 Democrats. I can't remember the names right now. One's Cory Booker, and that guy's just a nut. Called himself. You gotta watch this guy. You gotta look up Cory Booker. He says this is a Spartacus moment. Oh, you gotta watch this guy. He needs to take some drama classes and some acting, because this guy's nuts. Cory Booker. Anyway, he said he was gonna release classified information, and then he goes, "I'm willing to. I know it's against the blah blah blah. This is my Spartacus moment." The guy was ridiculous. Look that guy up. Cory Booker. And just type in probably YouTube Cory Booker Spartacus moment. This guy's ridiculous. This is I can't stop. I can't get it out of my head. God, they're going crazy. These Democrats are just, man, they can't besides themselves. I tell you, these people don't follow. The Constitution to them is nothing. Constitution is nothing to these guys. This is my smartest moment. What the hell was I? I'm serious. Look that guy up. Oh, wow. I think it's Kamala Harris is the other one. Kamala Harris, she's the one that was saying, excuse me, we just got like 150,000 pages of paperwork on Kavanaugh. We haven't been able to go through it yet. And she was doing that when he was just trying to introduce the whole thing and get it on the way, and he wouldn't even let us finish. And there was a couple other ones that were just interrupting too. And that chick, she's a senator, or not, something to do with California. She's in a senator. I think she's a senator in California, and she's the one that wants to open borders and all kinds of stuff down there. Anyway, so what they got this letter from this girl, this lady now, over 35 years ago, 36 years ago. I guess she had mentioned something about to her psychiatrist about this incident in 2012. Didn't put any names down, nothing like that. She just mentioned this moment, and so this is basically just a delay tactic. She's not willing to testify, to come to testify. She's putting all these crazy, stupid conditions, and come to find out, her lawyer is associated in some kind of tied with George Soros. I think George Soros. That guy is awful human being. He's been trying to derail our country for the longest time. This guy's worth $88 billion. I think he has ties to. He's recently had ties to the NFL union, I believe it was, and had funding some kind of left-wing activist with that stuff. The stuff going on with the kneeling, the national anthem, all that bullarchy. Frustrates me. I won't get on a tangent here. So he has ties to all kinds of leftist groups. Black Lives Matter is another one, and that crew right there. At first, I was like, okay, Black Lives Matter, okay, cool. But then they started to get violent. They started to get, I think they actually chased down white people at one point. I think I watched a video on that. And then the people were trying to come through the street. They were getting on the cars, doing all crazy stuff like that, blocking traffic, and they gone off the rails. And Jeff Soros has ties with those people. So if George Soros, has ties with a lot of these left-wing activist type crazy lunatic stuff. Anywho, so now she's putting all these conditions on this case before she wants to testify, come out. Kavanaugh already said, I didn't do it. This is ridiculous. I never ever in my life have done anything like that. And judging from his record, no, he has not done anything like that. And he's been through investigations 6 different times, because you have to do a background check every time you rise up in a different job. You go higher and higher and up. About 6 times he's done that, and they never found anything like that. And they want the FBI to investigate. The FBI cannot investigate on this. There's no crime scene. The lady doesn't know, where, when, what time. There's her story doesn't match with the psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever it was. It doesn't match. It doesn't match as far as the amount of people being in the house. Blah blah blah. It's 4 people or something like that. So she wants the FBI investigation, but the FBI doesn't do anything like this. They can't investigate this type of thing. There's no crime scene. There's nothing to investigate. She has to be willing to come up and testify and tell her story. But they're not doing that. So that is just nuts. That's the kind of shady, dark, corrupt, obstructionist type stuff these Democrats are willing to do, and not follow the Constitution, not follow law of rule. They'll do all kinds of shady stuff. I really don't think this lady's legitimate. Because first of all, she said she didn't want her name out there, and then Dianne Feinstein put it out there in the 11th hour again. They were getting ready to vote on it, I guess, and all of a sudden she pushes this letter out because they're desperate. That's how bad they do not want this guy on the Justice Supreme Court, because he's going to follow the Constitution as is. He's not going to change laws or anything like that. He has to follow the Constitution as is, as was written. It's simple. That's all there is to it. But the Democrats and the left and the liberals, they want to change things to fit their progressive ideas, which is not a good idea, because that falls in line with Karl Marx, and his ideas are horrible. I think Stalin took some ideas from Karl Marx. So billions and billions of people dead because of Stalin and his policies. So, it's just a delay tactic. The Democrats, they will not go as follows as things are supposed to work, because they want things to go their way, and they're going to fight hand and foot. You can see it through the Russia collusion thing. There's no Russia collusion. They're still investigating. They're bringing these people out of the woodwork, and as far as what's their names? Manafort and Cohen. Cohen was his lawyer. Manafort he worked briefly with Trump, I believe, and so they got them in there, and it has nothing to do with Russia collusion. They're just trying to find something that they can stick to Trump, or maybe flip these guys and give them some kind of deal and get a lesser sentence or whatever, because they themselves had some things that they shouldn't have been doing. So they're probably trying to flip these guys and say some false statements about Trump and Russia collusion, whole crap. Oh, and that's just it's nuts. We the people chose President Trump, and they're trying to fight tooth and nail to get him out of there. That's why you got to get out there and vote. Vote red. I don't care if you're Democrat. You got to do things right. You got to do things right in the right way, in a truthful manner. If you don't, and you're just gonna be shady about it and be corrupt about it, like these Democrats are doing for the last 2 years. Well, more than that, but they're just showing themselves a lot more. At least since I've been paying attention to it. So, if you want to keep your tax cuts, if you want to keep, you want to secure our borders, because that's going to we're going to go on round and round in circles if we don't secure the borders. People want to come over here illegally. Great, come on over, contribute, and be part of America, and I welcome you. I'll even have a beer with you. Okay. But it's gonna be real hard if you don't know how to speak English. If you come in here legally, you have to speak English. So we're gonna have a beer together, and it's gonna be really hard if you don't. So anyway, so that's the type of crap they're pulling now. They're trying to delay this. They're playing politics with it crazily, and it's all coming from the Democrats and the left. Oh, and then I just found out what's his name? Rosenstein. Rod Rosentien is the director of the FBI, I believe. I think they came out that he had a plan that he was going to record Trump and get rid of Trump, something to do with the 25th Amendment, and it had to do with him firing Comey, because he's the one that said he should fire Comey, that Trump should fire Comey, and he wrote a whole thing about it, to Trump, explaining why he should fire Comey, and then Trump, being smart, brought that to the attention at the same time that hey, Rosenstein, he's the one that told me to do it and wanted me to do it, or not, or basically, because basically what's going to happen is Rosenstein was going to flip on him, and he said he's going to prosecute him and try to impeach him for firing Comey. But he's the one that ensued it. I knew this guy was part of the I call it deep state. There's more to the deep state than that. But anyway, so there's all kinds of corrupt, dirty people in there. And if you don't get it yet, even Republicans are in there corrupt and dirty. I think they call those people rhinos. So if you don't get it yet, Trump is an outsider. Trump was not supposed to be president according to the elites. And they were going to have their guys come in there and follow their little game, a little agenda they're trying to do. And Trump has went in there and disrupted that, and he's giving America back to the American people. He's got tons of regulations. The GDP is up to 4.2. It's supposed to go higher than that. Look at what he has done with the economy and the unemployment rates at historical lows, bringing jobs, almost 4 million jobs in less than 2 years. Now you tell me, what the hell were these other guys doing? What were they doing? They were just following the plan, following the government's plan, whatever it was, to keep the people down enough to where we're dependent on them, and they're going to slowly do it to where we are more and more dependent on the government, and it can have more control over the American people instead of us having control of them. Because remember, guys, they work for us. Okay, that's why they're trying to fight so hard to get him out of there. And there's a lot of little dirty secrets that these corrupt politicians don't want to be leaked out or exposed. So Trump is the outsider. He's the closest thing we got to an outsider in the White House. And he went out all odds over 16 candidates. And with all the mainstream media just bashing him left and right, he beat every single one of those people out. And the elites are pissed off about it. The people with all the money, people with all the influence and the power, they're pissed about it because they ruined their little game. So if you don't get it yet, Trump is an outsider, and he's cleaning up that mess. Now, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real freaking hard if you don't get out there and vote red. And people who support Trump, I don't care if you don't like that guy. The guy is an ass sometimes, and he should shut his mouth. But I still support him because his heart is in the right place, and it is for the American people. I'm telling you, it is for the American people. And they're trying tooth and nail. Excuse me, I got an itch on my nose. It's not a booger. I got an itch. And he's trying like hell to give back to us. He cut all kinds of regulations for us and tax cuts. And unemployment is just, in less than 2 years, almost 4 million jobs. Is that crazy or what? Obama had 8 years and didn't do nothing clear near that. And now he's trying to take credit of it. Because back in the day, Obama said, "Oh, don't never get above 2 or blah, blah, blah." And our economy was stagnant for 8 years. Trump has been there less than 2. What were the other guys doing? I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, you gotta vote Republican, and make sure it's not a shady Republican. Do your homework. But you're at less risk if you vote Republican on the ticket. So we got to keep the House if you want to keep this progress going. Like I said, I don't care if you don't like them. Just look at the policies and how our country is doing. It's doing fan-frickin-tastic. Fantastic. So, if you want this to continue, as far as the country and the economy and unemployment, and you got your Black Americans, your Mexican Americans, Hispanic is the same thing, Mexican, Hispanic, Latino Americans, whatever. Women unemployment, all-time low. All-time low. More Americans are working now. He's making some good deals with foreign, with trade and stuff. I know it's a little edgy right now with the tariffs and whatnot, but there are some fruits coming from it, and it's making sense. And so you got to vote red, guys. These Democrats have gone nuts. They're not following the rules. If people were breaking the rules, not following the rules, you gonna trust those people just because you don't like the guy? But yet our country's doing great, giving the country back to the American people. Because remember, guys, like I said, they work for us. They work for us. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Democrats are put delay tactics on this because they want to wait till after the midterms because they believe that they're going to take the House back, and then they can take all that stuff that Trump has done with his policies and everything. They can just rewind that, and it's not like it never happened. And they have more votes in the House. So there goes Kavanaugh. I don't think he'll be nominated. He'll win. So that's why we have to get him in before the midterms, because they're banking on that they are going to win the midterms and they're going to take the House back. Now, historically, the opposite party has always taken the House back, but this is the closest it's been in quite some time. Texas just brought a senator, senator, I believe. It used to be Democrat for 139 years, so they changed that. Enough when people went out to vote and voted a Hispanic Republican. 139 years, folks. A Democrat has run that place. So more and more people are waking up. I think it's time for you to wake up and vote red, because we have to take the House back if you want all this progress to continue. Or you're going to say, bye, tax cuts, see you later. I don't care. Take my cuts away. More money in your pocket. The hard-earned money that we work for, right? And they got to get back to spending. That's spending freaking under control over there. So, yeah. That's about it, guys. Democrats, lefties. When I say Demorats, I'm speaking of, by Demorats, I'm speaking of the congressional Demorats. So that's what I'm speaking. I'm not trying to offend your average Democrat, like, your citizen Democrat. I'm not trying to offend you guys, but I'm just trying to wake